Hello, my name is Gil and you're watching Coding with Gil. This is going to be just an exercise string calculator that I found on the internet, and I'm going to try to solve it with you. So I'm going to do this TDD style. This is the exercise. I'm going to just some caveats. I'm going to do this in one take because I don't like editing. And let's hope I don't struggle too much on doing this. So this is a string calculator. We basically create a simple string calculator with a method that returns an int called add and returns the string numbers. So I already prepared the environment for me to start working on this. And we have some test file, which just has the test something. I'm going to show you how I usually do this stuff. So I can Control Z, and if I press M, which is make, I have a make file that runs the test for me. So as you can see, it runs the test, and this is failing because I wrote assert false. That's just to get us started. Now if I go back here, I can also do this, and it runs the test for me. And we can see here in Vim. So I may do one or the other depending on how I feel. So deal with it. Now let's go back here. So we're going to start doing one of them at a time. And it's going to be the usual red, green refactor, unless I forget one of those. So yeah, you can't tell me because it's just a video, but I wish you could tell me if I'm doing something wrong. So expect failure. So let's start with this. The method can take 0, 1, or 2 numbers, and will return their sum. For an empty string, it will return 0. For example, empty string or 1, comma 2. Okay. So, and return their sum. So I'm guessing, like I read this before, and the values are comma separated. I'm not sure if I should start with that first. Start with the simplest test case of an empty string and move to 1 or 2 numbers to handle new lines between numbers instead of commas. Okay, right. So I guess I'll start with the first test, which will be we're going to test the empty string. So the empty string will be actually, let's say, result will be add, and we're going to put the string, so empty string, and we're going to assert that the result is 0. Correct? So we have this. Okay. So when we run the test, it's going to fail because of the add, right? So add is not defined. So let's import it. So from, let's call it main, import add. So now it's going to complain because main doesn't exist, I think. Yes. So let's create main.py. This is the file. I'm going to add the method here, which is going to receive a string. And we just need this to pass the first test. So, because it's going to, right. So now it's complaining about the result. So we can just return 0. And now all tests are passing. Yep. Because it's expecting that the result is 0, right? So let me get the README open here. Right, so let's add more tests, because this is the first one. So the method can take 0, 1, or 2 numbers and will return their sum. Okay, so let's write one test for just one number. I'll not copy that. So test single number. I'm going to get the 1, and the result is 1. So let's run the test, see what this says. Right, so it's complaining because we're always returning 0. So let's make this pass. I'm going to open the two files here. I hope I'm not going too fast. Now this is going to be easy. So if the string is 1, I'm going to return 1. And we don't need an else. So this is going to make the test pass. Right, so red, green, refactor, right? Honestly, I'm going to write more tests before refactoring because it doesn't make sense. Let's return to the README. And actually, we can actually commit. So also G is my Git alias, and I'm using the fish shell. So let's see, add. So we want to add, well, actually we want to add everything, but the pip stuff, the PyTest cache and everything. Let's add the tests. Let me just check. Yes, we are recording. Now, yeah, and don't mind my alias is just gas git status, ga to add stuff. Now, well, I'm going to add the pip file and the pip file lock, which should only have PyTest. That's the only thing that I installed before running this. Okay, so let's do this. So initial commit. Well, I should have committed before with just the test, but passing initial tests. Cool. Let's get back to this. So start with the simplest test case of an empty string, move to 1 and 2 numbers. Right, so 2 numbers. So let's add that one. Two numbers. It's going to be comma separated, so this is going to be 3. So now I think it's going to be a good case for refactoring after this is passing. So now we actually have to do stuff. Now let's get the numbers. So I'm going to split the string. This is how I'm thinking. I'm going to split the string by comma, and this is going to return us a list of numbers, actually a list of strings. I'll show you. Let me pipenv run Python. So let's say we get a string. This is the example that we have, right? So if we do split by a comma, no, missed this. Yeah, so we're going to get a list of strings, as you can see. Now I'm curious about the other stuff. So what if I do this to just 1? Okay, we're going to get the single, and this is going to get us a, okay, this is cool. So this is going to get us numbers, right? So we can loop through them. So for I in numbers, this is going to give us I is going to be each string from that list. Now we're going to do, because we don't have any tests for that, we just want to make the test pass. We can dumbly get convert the number into strings because this is a string, right? So we can't do calculations with it. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So let's say number equals int I. So this is going to give us the number. So if I make another list called, well, let's make this string numbers, and then we're going to do actual numbers is going to be an empty list. Now I'm going to make this numbers append the number, and then let's see if we can do this. So sum is a function, is a Python function that returns the sum of all the numbers in a list. So if we do this, it should give us exactly what we want. I'll show you. Pipenv. No. So fish shows me the commands, but it doesn't let me run them. So, okay. What was I going to show you? Yes, the sum. So sum of a list of 1, 2. So this is going to be this list is going to be the result of that loop that we're doing. So it's going to be the numbers. So this is going to give us 3, right? So what I'm curious about is that we're going to try to convert the string. Yeah, that's going to fail because when we convert what is this? So n equals, this is what I'm doing there, right? So if I'm going to convert the empty string to int, yeah, we're going to get a value error. So this is going to fail for the other ones, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's okay, so let's see what actually fails with this. So I'm going to string numbers, right? So this is going to give me the list of the numbers. I'm going to create a new list of numbers. These are the numbers converted from int. We're going to just append them, and we're going to return the sum of all of them. Let's see how this looks like. Doesn't look very well, right? So it's failing on the first one, which is the empty list. Right, because it's going to give us the value error. So we're going to have to do an edge case for this. So we're going to try, and if we get a value error, let's say the number is going to be 0, because I think then if we make the number be 0, and when we sum it, it's going to just ignore it. Let's see how this looks like. Yeah, cool, awesome. So now just to sum it up, we have the 3 tests: empty string, single number, 2 numbers. Well, 2 numbers, and they're all passing. So time to commit this, and it passed. 3, so 3 tests all passing. Cool. What else? Now moving on to the next one. So the method can take, yeah, this is cool. So our simplest test case of an empty string and move to, yeah, this is redundant. Allow the add method to handle an unknown amount of numbers. I think this is a bit silly because we already have the test for 1 and 2. I'm not sure if I should add another one, but this one should take care of it. If I'm just going to add, I can add one with 3 numbers, or actually just like 5 numbers. It's going to be the same. 5 numbers, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so yeah, very silly, but I'm nervous. So okay, so yeah, so this is the result of all of that. So let's run the test, see if I can. So the test, yeah, they passed. So this is a duplicated test. Let me just right there. I don't know if we're going to change this later, but at least I think these 2 are duplicated. Let's see. So allow the add number method to handle an unknown amount of numbers. Yeah. Allow the add method to handle new lines between numbers instead of commas. Okay. So that's a new one. So let's copy this one. Let's say test, how's it called? So new line between 2 numbers. Right, so this should also work. So if I run the test, yep. So the result is 0 because, yeah, because it's not splitting anything. So let's make this pass. How do we make this pass? So you see how we're splitting this by this. I'm not sure if split, let's see, pipenv Python. So if I can do split, does it know? Because I need to, no, the type is str, and then we have splits, split. Here you go. We have the separator none. At most, any white space string is a separator and empty strings are right. So one easy way that I can do this is by replacing the slash ends with commas. That would solve it, but I was hoping that there would be a way for me to split them with more separators. Return a list of lines in ASP breaking the line breaks are not included unless split lines. This is interesting. This could actually help us, but I'm not sure, because if I do, so if I say to split lines, right, but what if I do another split? No, because I can't do another split, because then I'll have the commas, right? So yeah, and this doesn't help. So I think I'm going to do that, because then there will be one way of doing it, and that will be to split them by that. So we're going to make sure that we have the commas. So first of all, we're going to transform the string replace. So this into a comma. I think that's how you do this. Let me see if this makes the test pass. Yeah. Okay. So this solved the problem. Cool. Let me add the test. A comment. Should I add a comment here? Okay. Well, this is that refactor bit, right? Red green refactor, but this is not as great as of a refactor. Okay, let me commit this. I'll also change the README. Let's not care about that. Edit new line test. Okay. On to the next one. Handle unknown, method to handle new lines between numbers instead of commas. Okay, the following input is okay. Yes, okay, so let's add this test. So this is going to be the interesting test, right? Because it's going to be mixed. Test mixed, new lines and commas, two numbers. Actually, three numbers, right? Not even sure if I should say that here. So it's going to be 6. Right. Let's see. Do you think this is going to pass? I think so. Yeah. Cool. Actually, let me amend that. Yeah. New line test and mixed. Oh well, actually I didn't do anything. So let me commit amend. Yes. Okay. Cool, so we have a bunch of tests here. Let me look at the new next bit. So the following input is not okay. Right. Another test for us. test. So this is going to be, maybe I should stop referring to the number of numbers that we have. So this will be, no, this is going to be mixed new line and comma one number. Well, actually, one thing that they don't say is it's invalid, but should we expect it to return 0? I think this is the case, right? Not need to prove it, just clarifying. I'm not sure what that means. And, well, doesn't matter, but let's see if this, like, I'm not sure. It makes sense to be 1, right? Because there's no number here. Oh well, I know that later we're going to have smarter erroring, so I'm not going to. Why is this not okay? It doesn't make sense, right? Okay, I'm going to ignore this line then. I'm going to keep the task, but we can revisit this later. So support different delimiters. I think this is going to be a new subsection. So to change the delimiter, the beginning of the string will contain a separate line that looks like this. Right. So and should return 3 where the default delimiter is this. Okay. First line is optional. All existing scenarios should still be supported. Okay. So I'm guessing that this is going to allow us to change the delimiter, and we can keep the delimiter being comma. So this is going to be a great opportunity to refactor. So why did I go to main? Let's go to the tests. Let's write the test for this. So if all scenarios should still remain, I'm going to keep them and I'm not going to touch any of them. So let's go to test. What is this? Custom delimiter. And so result is going to be, so the string is going to be this, and then what was the example? I'm going to get exactly the example that it's here, because it's easier that way. So this is the example, and we're going to assert that the result is 3. Right, should return 3 where the default delimiter is, well, not the default, right? The custom. Okay. So the first line is optional. All existing. Okay. Okay. So this task should cover all that we need, right? So need a new line here. Okay. Also, I did not commit this. So let me commit that. So not this. How do I just commit that bit? I'm terrible at this patch thing. I'm gonna do it so I'm going to